Hello, I'm Shelly Moselle, and welcome to Shell Shocked, the podcast. What if we knew then what we know now? How different would our lives be? What if we listened, really listened to those who have gone before us, listened to their life lessons? Would that change our journey? I'm collecting interviews with some of the most life-traveled people I know who are here to share their what-ifs. I invite you to learn their lessons with the hopes our stumbles are lessened. I share with you a collection of great teachers. If I knew then what I know now, your new journey begins right now. Well, good afternoon or good after evening or good morning, wherever you are when you're listening to this podcast. I'm Shelly Moselle, and I'm so excited to introduce to you one of my favorite women in the city. I look at her as an entrepreneur. I look at her as a giver. I look at her as a woman who can relate to other women. Elodia Adamson, she is here. She's involved in many business throughout the city. She is an entrepreneur at spirit. Her family business is Perches Funeral Homes, which I think I'm comfortable saying, Elodia, that it's one of the largest, if not the largest, both in Juarez and in El Paso. And they have taken care of many family members for generations. They've been around a long time. She also has Bridal Novias. And Bridal Novias, she's the president of Bridal Novias, and it is an amazing wedding boutique. If you want to go into that store, you're going to find high-end wedding dresses. You'll find affordable wedding dresses, amazing accessories for the wedding and the bride, and she also has amazing evening wear. So we'd love for you to stop in. That's El Paso, Texas. And she and her daughter, she has two daughters, by the way, but her daughter involved with Ella Blue. And Ella Blue is, oh goodness, it's a place I shop often. It is a place that has everyday clothing, high-end clothing, a huge bridal end, but they also have gift and accessories and baby clothing. So it's kind of a one-stop shop right here in El Paso, Texas, and it's locally owned. And if you know anything about me, I love to showcase locally owned businesses. So Elodia is here, and she's here to talk a little bit about the entrepreneur life and how she got started, but she's here to share a story. And it's a story that you're going to find real. You're going to have a tear. You're going to have a giggle, because that's what we do here, and we talk real. So welcome, Elodia. I'm so excited to have you. And by the way, it's 5:00 somewhere, so cheers.
Cheers.
Elodia, let's start with family business. Give me a little bit of background. You were a small child. You grew up in this business, funeral home business. A lot of us are going to go, ugh. Tell us a little bit, because basically what you do is you give the community closure and that final goodbye. So that's a place that very few people can go. Talk to me about that.
Well, my family started Perches Funeral Home in Juarez, and we started growing when my father realized that because in Mexico people did not have health insurance, by the time they went to the funeral, they could not give their loved one exactly what they wanted. So my father started giving credit to the families, because he felt that every person deserves a decent funeral, regardless of what situation they are from. And so by giving credit to the people started to trust him and knew that he believed in the community, in helping always. And so that is how we grew. And then my brother, Sal Perches, decided, well, let's open in El Paso, Texas. And we have grown tremendously, as well as in Las Cruces, because we continue helping the community. And we are so grateful to El Paso, Juarez, and Las Cruces, because we have been very blessed.
You know, I know when COVID hit, we know we had deaths, many deaths we all dealt with. Your name, the family name, came up repeatedly, over and over again. And I can imagine it's from that foundation. Of course, we had people here who didn't plan on losing someone at an early stage. And I have heard nothing but amazing stuff coming from the reputation of that funeral home. So obviously your father taught you well. He taught you how to run a business, and he obviously taught you how to think from your heart and to work from your heart. So let's talk a little bit about the bridal industry that you have been in. How many years?
I'm going to say 42 years.
Oh, you're only 55. How does that work out?
It happens.
42 years. And then you've got 2 daughters.
Yes, I do.
And so you brought your daughters into the industry with you. And one of your daughters has just run off with Ella Blue. Tell me about Ella Blue.
Well, as a matter of fact, the Ella Blue building, which is at 5410 North Mesa, I literally breastfed both of my daughters there.
No, you didn't.
I did. I had to work, and I took them to work along with me. By the age of 6, they were literally knowing my customers' names, and they knew theirs. And in order for me to spend time with my children, I decided they would travel with me. Whether it was to the New York market, Los Angeles market, Dallas market, I was still a Pan Am flight attendant. Believe it or not, I did take.
Okay, I did not know that about you.
I did take some months off for maternity, but trust me, 5 days after their birth, I was back at work.
I bet you were.
And so I got to travel with them, and I immediately knew that not only did I really not force them to go into retail, because I knew what it entails, but I guess it worked. In Sophia's blood, it worked.
What? You know, that makes sense. You walk in, and if Sophia's there, which she is, I want to say 75% of the time she's there, you always hear, "Hi, friend, come on in." So it's because she was a young woman learning every single client. No wonder she has an amazing client base.
You know what? Some of our suppliers out of town and out of the country knew my daughters when they were born. And for them to see them now in the business, it's just such a joy.
Well, and they've grown the business too. They did take a small business. They took a business and they've grown it. Sophia, I know, is a marketing genius. She's very good with social media. My goodness. And she now has a baby.
Yes, Elsie. And
of
course,
3?
that's when she's 3 years old. Okay. And that's when she opened, the Ella Blue baby. And so Elsie is the model on TV and in all of the reels. Yeah. And it has been a phenomenal ride.
Well, El Paso appreciates you because we appreciate local. And not everyone can keep local businesses running. So the fact it says something that for years and years and years, you've been able to have local successful businesses and you survived COVID. Woohoo. So that's a big thing.
Well, you know what? We were afraid. Yeah. And when COVID hit and our stores closed, it happened to be in March, which of course was prom season, graduation, Mother's Day. Right. Sophia comes up with a great idea. "Mom, let's do baskets." And I thought, what are we going to do? We've never done baskets before. So we actually turned her dining room, she was very pregnant by then, into a maquila industry where we actually would get the merchandise out of the store, make baskets, and I became the delivery person.
Well, and you became the delivery because, as you said, she was pregnant. And so we all know when you're pregnant during COVID, you're not allowed to be out anywhere. So what an ingenious mindset. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, we must say.
And I can tell you, Shelley, one day I delivered a basket and I would ring the doorbell, take a picture just to know that it had been delivered. And the man comes out and says, "Elodia, you are delivering baskets?" And I said, "Did I not tell you I own Ella Blooper now?" And he laughed so hard, and he called all of his friends. "These girls want to survive. Please order baskets from them." And the rest is history.
El Paso is good like that, are we not? You know, we help each other any opportunity we can. I would like to say that probably every other city doesn't have that, but it is the way we operate here and the way people stay successful. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we're going to jump around a little bit. Elodia, you have had something happen to you in the last bit that is so meaningful. And the reason I really wanted you to come on today is because you're able to show what a very successful businesswoman you are, but you're also able to show the real behind the scene, and you're willing to share that. And the reason it's important to me is I believe we put this persona on. You and I spoke about that. And the persona is life is good and life is great and life is perfect. And then the behind the scenes, we know life is life. And just because it's pretty on the outside, there's things that we overcome on the backside. So I'd like you to share a little bit of what has happened to you in the last bit, so that if there's someone else out there who's fallen, thinks they can't get back up, well, you can. Who thinks they're the only one going through a horrible situation. Well, you're not. I'd like you to tell me about, if you're comfortable, with what's gone on in the last year of your life.
Absolutely. Well, let's call it in June. I had not been to a doctor in 32 years.
Okay, we're not allowed to say that on air. Elodia.
I know.
Elodia.
People thought I was having a stupid attack.
Oh,
but in
goodness
reality,
sakes.
I always felt so good and so healthy. And when COVID hit, I have to admit, I literally got dizzy. And so I went to a water clinic in Santa Rosa, California. It's called True North, where you drink water morning, afternoon, and evening, and you don't even eat a grape.
Wow.
For the days that you decide that you're going into this water
Okay.
deal. When I left there 10 days later, I have to admit I felt fantastic. So I said, great.
I'm healed.
But my daughters said, Mom, you have to go to a doctor. And she insisted that I go. And of course, I let time go by. By the time I finally did go, which of course I knew it was nothing, or at least I thought.
Of course it wasn't.
They take the test, and I'm at the Dallas market 2 days later with Sophia and my two buyers. And Shelley,
Just
I
like that.
almost peed
I bet you.
on the 15th floor of the
did.
Dallas market.
And the only time anyone else has ever done that was when they were overserved. So that would have been bad, Elodia. Oh my God, the shock.
I was in shock, I have
The
to admit.
shock.
And I'm like, okay, if that's the bad news, may I ask what the good news are? Well, I can see you on Friday. And it was Wednesday. And I'm like, excuse me, no.
I'm at market.
I'm at market, and this is the busiest time of the year for us. It was the gift market for Ella Blue, where we buy everything for our customers. There was no way I was coming to a doctor, and Ella Blue had to go on. So
And it can't go on without you doing the buying, right?
exactly.
Of course not.
And so they're a bit ahead of me, so they're not listening to my phone conversation. And then, of course, I say, stop. By the way, I've been diagnosed with cancer. We can't cry. We have to continue. Let's wait for dinner. And then I'll tell you the rest.
That was your announcement to your daughter and your employees?
Yes, I was just diagnosed with cancer. And they're like,
Elodia.
okay, let's go home. And I go, absolutely not. What are you talking about? This is the holiday season. Mom, this is more important. I said, no, our customers, our friends that are waiting for their holiday season to be fabulous are most important right now. I've had this, I don't know for how long, so it can wait. I made my appointment for Tuesday. And so needless to say, I said, and we'll cry at dinner. Other than that, everybody is prohibited in telling anyone or talking about it.
Okay, you know they were looking at each other, like giving each other the stink eye back and forth.
They were like, and Sophia goes, that's my mom.
And Sophia, you were very, very, very close to Sophia.
Extremely. And
You live
Andrea.
next door.
Yes, we are backyard neighbors.
Backyard
believe it or
neighbors,
not.
yeah. I mean, you're very close. So not only were you in shock, Sophia had to be in.
Absolutely. We were. And so, you first asked your question, why me? And then I answered it myself because I can take the challenge.
Okay.
And so I go to the doctor, and many friends found me a phenomenal doctor in Phoenix. I feel so blessed Number one, to Dr. Nutis for forcing me to go and take care of myself. And then to all of our friends and family that helped me find just absolutely the perfect place. And people ask me right now, are you going to have plastic surgery? And I go, no, I consider it my trademark.
Right.
At this point, I consider my scars something that I can talk about. And I have already influenced so many people to go to their dermatologist and get checked. So I feel very comfortable talking about it. And then while I was having the scar, I said, oh my goodness, I need to go to Maui. I need some sun and sand. And so I leave to Maui and I get caught in the fires of Maui. And of course, the hurricane that hit there. And needless to say, I had to go see it on my own, to go see the destruction and to see if I could help in any way. And so we walked for miles until we got to where the fire was and had happened. I was able to massage some people that had lost their home. I was able to lend my cell phone because I've always been blessed with a phone that works anywhere in the world, and to lend them my phone so they could call their families. And then I had to get back home, well, really not home, Albuquerque, because both of my daughters play tennis, and they were involved in a tennis tournament. And can you miss a tennis tournament?
Oh, heavens, no.
Of course not. You definitely have to show up with your daughters there, and I'm the official cheerleader, or at least that's what I call myself. And I found a way to the airport, which, of course, my brother-in-law that lives in Maui says, Elodia, there is no way you are getting to the airport. There is no cars that I can return from the airport. I said, I'm going to make it. And, of course, I did. And we got to sleep at the airport.
Hold on a minute. There's a little bitty part of this story.
Yes.
Where else did you sleep, Elodia? I mean, let's talk. Elodia has been sleeping around Maui. Where else did you sleep, Elodia?
You know, I have always said I can sleep on top of a bicycle. And I actually go like this. Oh, I can definitely, because when I was in India, I would see people sleeping on a bicycle. So if they could, if they're flexible, well, so am I. And, of course, I have slept in benches, in hammocks, you name it. I've experienced it.
Didn't you have something where you were in the car and you didn't have a place to sleep?
We slept 5 in a car because we didn't want to go down to the gym where it was so packed, because they came at 2 o'clock in the morning to our home to evacuate us. And so we left and to the holding place. And we said, well, maybe the parking lot seems better than the gym, and that's what we did.
So you're sleeping in the car. Well, let's confess that's not typical for you. You normally sleep in very nice mattresses.
Absolutely, and bamboo sheets, please.
Please, let's talk how you usually live, but we can adjust and adapt. But I've seen pictures where the fire was in the background, and you have pictures of the fire around you.
I did. And at the same time, as I'm sitting here talking to you today, I am like, I cannot believe we survived that so close. And I was actually close to an electrical post going on fire. And they're like going, get away. And I'm like, what if my photo comes out in National Geographic?
Oh, so you took the photo.
So of course, because really I kind of feel I had missed my calling in life. I could have been a National Geographic photographer because
so you're posing for the picture.
Never scared, right?
Okay, you're posing for the picture.
I didn't do a selfie, okay? I thought people will think I'm ridiculous. That I've never done.
Well, you had to have looked around and the devastation that was. I mean, that's a reality. So you have reality check of your medical situation. What I'm getting from this is you're very good at denial. You're very good at accepting what's going on for 30 seconds maybe, and then moving forward to whatever's going on around you. Was there fear? Was there ever fear when they said, Elodia, you have cancer? Did you have a feeling of fear? Was there a fear when, Elodia, you're looking around, you're like, I'm in Maui, and this place is devastated. There are fire everywhere. Do you feel fear?
I don't believe in fear.
Wow.
I really don't.
Okay.
I have been in so many situations in my life. When I was a Pan Am flight attendant, I was the first airplane that landed in the Narita airport when they said we will not allow an airplane because, of course, they had displaced all of the farming community. Mm-hmm. And they came in and said, none of you have to fly over there. And I raised my hand and I said, I will fly over there. I'm willing to land there. And we did. And I was one of the few. And of course, we got a letter from the president, and we had bodyguards in Tokyo because they were not going to stop. But now it's the safest airport in the world. On another occasion, I was going to fly to Liberia in West Africa, and they said there's been a coup d'etat, a revolution. You don't have to go, but we will find people to fly. And I said, well, you have me to fly. I will definitely land whether there's a revolution or not. Somehow I always feel it'll be okay if I'm
a protection.
There, better. And on another occasion, people say, were you scared when you landed and the 747 the wheels didn't come out and they had to put foam on the runway? And I can actually tell you I was worried for my passengers because they were so scared. Wow. But as for me, I do not believe in having fear. I feel that the strength that I will overcome. And like that, I can think of other situations. I was in Los Angeles with the worst earthquake, when the Santa Monica freeway came down. Mm-hmm. And I was on the 8th floor of the hotel. And of course, we were supposed to run down. And I said, why would I run down and sleep in the lobby? So believe it or not, I stayed in the room. And by the time the morning came, I come down and the people in the desk go, you never got off your floor? I said, no, and please don't charge me for the vibrator. I didn't ask for it. And she goes, oh my God, you've got a great sense of humor. And I really did not know how bad the earthquake was because there was no television and there was no lights.
You had no idea.
And so I had no idea until I got off and I said, oh my goodness, there's no freeway.
You just thought the bed was...
there is no stoplight.
You just thought the bed was vibrating and that's how it works?
Well, I knew it was an earthquake because I could feel shaking and I could feel the dogs howling. Oh. But what are you going to do downstairs in the lobby?
Oh my goodness.
So I just am a little different.
So, all right. You, fear is not a word. It's not part of your vocabulary.
And you know what? Neither is stress.
Oh, goodness sakes. I'm going to take a lesson from you.
And I'll tell you why.
Please.
My father, when he first heard the word stress, said, esa no es palabra en español. That word is not in our dictionary, and so you just don't use it.
It's an American word.
Right?
Wow, we've invented that, and it's crippling for us because we fall into that.
In the 1920s, the word stress was not in our dictionary.
Okay, I'm going to roll with that. It's no longer a word. Right. Good for your father to say that. Okay, let's move forward. So you get a car, and that was a little difficult for you to find a car. There's a story here. There's a lot of stories with Elodia. There's a story on a car.
Well, I tell Michael, all I have to do to get to the airport is for you to get me to a hotel. Could you please take me to the Sheraton? And he said, no, I'm going to take you to the Hyatt. And I said, fine. So I end up at the Hyatt, and I put a big sign.
Still in Maui. We're in Maui with fires. We have fires still burning, and everyone's trying to get out of Maui.
Absolutely. And I put a sign that I'm offering $350 for a 5-mile ride to get to the airport, because you couldn't go to the airport because there was no way back. So I was really looking for somebody that had rented a car and that maybe had space for my daughter Andrea and I. We were together to take us to the airport. Well, one lady saw us so desperate that she said, if you walk to the Sheraton, which is where I wanted to go in the first place, the government just put buses. Oh. So we walked at midnight with no lighting, about a mile. I never travel in white clothes. Don't ask me why I was traveling in white. I guess I was thinking my daughters were playing in Wimbledon.
Clothes.
And they were only playing in Albuquerque. And I was traveling to Maui in white clothes. I mean, my closet is a sea of black. And I said, well, I guess it's meant for something. So we walked with our luggage. I travel light, of course, and ended up at the hotel, and I see the bus, and it's full.
Okay, I'm going to stop you for 1 second.
Yes.
Looting is going on.
Yes.
You know it is. You know, burglaries are everywhere. People are feared for their lives. They're going to pick up anything they can because they don't know when they're going to get anything next. So you and your daughter think you are fine to travel at night in a looting area. You could have been robbed, stolen, anything could have happened to you. And there was no stress. There was no fear. Okay, let's move forward.
You know what? Even then, I feel that I can talk myself out of it.
Okay.
I think I could convince somebody.
I believe you. I'm on your side.
To turn to a better person.
Okay.
So I get to the hotel, and I hear that the buses are for people staying in the hotel. Oh. And so they ask, what's your room number, to another gentleman? And he goes 1733. And of course that registered. Just in case she asked me my room number, mine was going to be 1731. But they never asked me, what's your room number? But of course I would have known what to say. I've stayed in enough hotels that I kind of know room numbers. And so I was able to get into the bus with Andrea, and we did make it to Albuquerque on time. And then it broke my heart. I got a phone call, and this woman says, you lent my daughter your phone. And I said, yes, I did. And she goes, have you heard from her again? And I'm like, oh my God, let me send you a picture.
This is back in Maui. You're getting a phone call about a woman in Maui.
Yes, and the mother was in Washington. I'm in Albuquerque. And I said, let me send you a picture of your daughter. I believe she's the one that I massaged, and my daughter took a picture of us. Oh, wow. And I said, could you please keep me posted? And she did. 2 days later, she says, my daughter is fine. And oh my God.
Okay. I've got
so much
the skin
chills.
crawling going on. Talk about connected. You know, when people say no good deed goes undone, I've never believed that saying. Every good deed is a good deed.
If you heart shell-shocked, keep listening. Shell-shocked is available courtesy of Chateau Trois Colline Nissa, a Lebanese Sauvignon Blanc, available at El Paso local Total Wine locations, and by City Magazine, El Paso's only monthly lifestyle magazine celebrating all the good things going on in the city. Learn more at thecitymagazineelp.com. If you haven't heard enough, grab a cocktail, and we'll be right back. If you've heard enough, just grab another cocktail.
So you gave that mother some comfort and built a small relationship from mother to mother about taking care of our children.
Yes, she was like, thank you. And I said, no, thank you. And thank you for keeping me posted. Oh. Because to me at that point, she was like, oh my God, somebody that I knew
And touched.
and touched. Exactly.
Well, I want to know how the girls do at the tennis match. Let's go from the burning fires to the tennis match. Surely the girls did well. Tell me really quickly how that went. In your white clothes, reflective clothes, so that you didn't get run over and hit as you were hitchhiking, for a better word, in Maui, trying to get home for the tennis match.
El Paso got second place.
Well, go El Paso. Our girls
Paso
were happy.
strong.
El Paso
Right?
strong. Oh my goodness.
And we were the wild card team. So that even made it more
Oh,
special.
well, of course you are. I think you need to maybe brand yourself the wild card. I mean, I'm fully feeling that right now talking to Elodia, because what we expect from you, this is a very sophisticated woman. For those of you that are not on a YouTube channel, she's very sophisticated. She's very well dressed. She's very well spoken, but yet she has, stress is not a word for her. She's never scared. And clearly, danger, she doesn't even know how to spell that word, because she doesn't step into the world of danger and think it's the world of danger. I don't know what to say. Would you suggest that your granddaughter have that same mentality, Elodia?
I can already tell that she does.
Oh, goodness.
Honestly.
Good.
And whenever I have the opportunity to take her to school, we talk about it. And I can already tell you, she is ready for it. And knows that she better multiply to up to 12.
You know who better be ready for it is Sophia. She better be ready for this, because here she goes with a strong woman. Strong women are hard to raise, by the way. Very
Extremely.
hard to raise. I mean, we want them to be, but whoo, they're hard women to raise. But at the end of the day, those are the women who are successful. So let's talk about strengths. Let's talk about how important it is for a woman to find her strength. And where do you find your strength? So you found yours clearly from your father. We've got a woman who doesn't know who her father is. Maybe she doesn't have a lot of family. Talk to me about how important community is in finding that person that might step in to be a community leader and help you out to find your strength. Help me with that. There's women everywhere who need someone. And I think it's incredibly important that we never forget our childhood friendships. I think I talk about this a lot. I think it's never important that we never forgive our college friendships. And we don't forget our friendships in our 30s. So, I'm 55 plus something else. And I have long-term relationships from years back where I find my strength. Tell me where you find your strength.
I'm fortunate to have a large family, and we are very close. And then again, I have friends that I can totally depend on. Like whether I have a birthday party that is at San Miguel, or whether my daughter's wedding is in Guatemala.
Which was stunning. I know, because we covered it in our wedding magazine, and it was stunning.
People are going to go.
Yes.
Because I believe in bonding with my friends.
There you go.
They know I'm there for them. And everyone that knows me knows that I'm on call 24/7.
Wow.
And I literally am. Whether I'm on a cruise, I have taken care of funerals. Whether I am in the middle of Timbuktu, I will answer my phone for you. So I have a bond with my friends forever. And for example, if I know someone that just graduated from college, of course I'm going to recommend my favorite books so that they can continue and be better. It is sad to say that most people stop reading when they leave school. And to me, continuing education, whether you went to college or not, because I don't necessarily feel that you have to go to the
I don't
university.
either. I'm same with you.
I feel that you learn so much from the
Life.
University of Life. Absolutely.
I am with you.
And so to me, I love training our personnel, because if they ever leave me for whatever reason, I would hope that they get a job immediately because they have been trained by me. Because I am the type of person that feels, even I know a lot about a person, even where they park. When they come in, if you arrive early, you should park furthest so that the people that are coming in late park closer so they're not as late for the good of the company.
Wow.
If something is on the floor, I immediately pick it up because I want to know that the person cleaning, the housekeeper, I honor their work. Even at the airport, I greet the person cleaning the bathroom, and I notice that it is sad that nobody says good morning to her. And I go, she's a person.
You believe we're all on equal playing field, and you have always treated people.
Absolutely.
If your income level is here, and you're coming in to spend $10,000 and buy a $10,000 wedding dress, or if your income level is lower and you're coming in to buy a $700 wedding dress, you give the same time, the same exposure, the same attention to detail. And I know you've passed that on to your girls.
Absolutely. And just the same, I feel that regardless of your income, you can reach for the stars. When I was born, the midwife charged my parents $10. And I literally started my business with $1,000 and a suitcase. People think, oh, Elodia has everything because she was born with a silver platter.
Of course they think that.
They do not know that to this day, I really don't bite into an apple because there wasn't enough apples to go around. We were 8. So we always had to split it and share it. I never had a sunny side up egg because we had to make them scrambled with potatoes and onions because if there was 2 and it had to be for the whole family. So I believe in saving money. I do not believe in only if you are at this level can you reach happiness. As a matter of fact, I consider health is the new wealth. I consider that you can reach for the stars regardless of where you came from. You just have to be a person that tries harder, does it better, whether you are a bricklayer, whether you are a painter, whether you are an air conditioning person. I feel that we are all equal and that if you are the best at what you do, you are going to be successful. And the sky is not the limit.
Yeah.
Because where is the sky?
Well, and it takes all of us to make this community a successful community, no matter what your job description is. I'm with you. I have that same mindset. I have, we're El Pasoans. We're kissers. We're huggers. By the way, COVID was really rough for us. I didn't follow the rules very well because we're kissers. We have that European mentality where we all kiss each other on the cheek. I remember when I first moved to El Paso, which was 20-something years ago. And by the way, I'm an El Pasoan. Make no mistake, this is my home. When I first moved here, the first big business deal I went into, actually I was, can you believe, running a Yellow Page company. I know, that ages me tremendously. But the day before Google, back in the day before Google, I remember when Google was born, you did have, of course you had to have your name in bold and add. I remember the first person I went to here in El Paso. Mind you, I'd worked all over New Mexico, all over Texas, all over Dallas. But I came into El Paso, and the first big business deal I had going, when I walked back in the second time, he kissed me on the cheek, and I was like, that guy is hitting on me. Mind you, I was single at the time, so of course you think that, oh my God, that guy is hitting on me. No, that is not the way it is. El Pasoans, we have that European flair that we're touchy, we're feely, and we're kissy. I actually was in the racehorse business, which I adore and love, and it will always be such a close place to my heart. I started as a young child, and even rode on the racetrack, ponying horses.
Oh, nice.
34 average miles a day. So don't I wish I had that tight body back, Woo, that was a good exercise. But I had a little condemnation of that I would, when I greeted my groom, who spoke only Spanish, so my Spanish was very broken, by the way. It's not wonderful, but we got along, who only spoke Spanish, I greeted him every morning and kissed him on the cheek. And I had big buyers, big owners of huge racehorses that would come and say, that's really not etiquette, don't you? But for me, it's etiquette because that's how we are. We are those people. And I actually left El Paso and moved back to Dallas for a length of time. And all I could say was, I can't wait to get back home. And it's because I get tears in my eyes because it's us.
Definitely.
It's who we are. It's us. And it's because your father raised you to who you are, and you passed along to the two girls who are now passing along to their kids. And it's a generational thing. It's so important for us. It's incredibly important. So I want to circle back around for a minute. You have dressed some of the most elite brides in the state of Texas. I'm going to say pretty clear. Because your shops, the two of, are as high end as where you'll go in New York. I've walked into New York stores. I've seen them. You have more merchandise. You have more to choose from. Price points are so much better. Thank you. But you have dressed some of the elite to go off into their future. And you've also dressed those laying in caskets. So that part of you goes from here to here. But the gift is a gift. Let's talk about the first time you remembered being involved in something of death. And then we're going to go and end in some of the amazing stuff you've done with Forward Life. So that's a gift you give both directions. Your heart is that big. And it doesn't matter that they took the heart from your eye. Your heart is you. And it's what you pass on. But I want to know your memories of maybe those first dressings of that important sending someone off to where they're going to live the rest of their life. I know we're going to get religious here, but I'm a strong Christian. I believe we're all going to heaven. So if you don't, this is the time to click off right now. But your body, soul is already in heaven. That's my belief. Body is here to be presented to the loved ones and be remembered. Tell me about that gift you gave in that memory.
Every funeral is important, and every funeral is different. And I mean very different, because it all depends on the age, and it all depends how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Some funerals are a celebration of life.
Mm-hmm.
Some funerals are extremely sad, and you ask yourself why.
Why?
At the same time, they are a very important part of one's memory. And I always have thought, I want to lead my life the way I would like for my obituary to be read.
I say that.
It is so important
It is.
to live in kindness, to live in giving. And I have helped so many funerals that, I mean, I can actually right now shed a tear and my voice shakes.
No, well, you and I are feeling it.
But I definitely make it as important and as caring when I know the person, when I do not. It is an important occasion, and I feel, and I try my best, and we all do in our, at Perches Funeral Home, to give them closure. And to know that memories and their kindness and remembrances will last forever.
Yeah.
And I feel honored every time a family trusts us to take care of their loved one.
Okay. And that is why your family has been so successful in all the years. I know Sal feels the same way, of course, because, he was brought up by your father. I love that. So let's move to the women that you have dressed for their futures.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
Do you remember? You don't have to say. Of course you won't. Do you remember the woman that walked in that you said, okay, Her budget is ginormous. And she looks like a princess. Do you remember the first person that came in that you're like, I love this business because I'm sending someone into the future with the man standing that they're going to hold hands with and hope that the fairy tale works out? Because I believe in love. I am such a romantic. Then hope that the fairy tale works out and we're sending them off to have the wonderful life ahead. Do you remember that first person? Describe what that felt like as you were putting that princess together.
I remember exactly.
Okay.
And needless to say, we have dressed, like you say, so many. At the same time, there have been so many times that we say, oh my goodness, let's give some dresses away because they don't have a dress.
I knew you were going there.
And very often I will just ship 10 dresses to Juarez, 20 dresses to Juarez. My friends that have bridal stores ship dresses to me so that I can give away because they know that I will definitely choose the right person for them that values marriage and that to her and her family it is so important that they wear a wedding dress. And so it's as important as the most important brides that we have. When Kleinfeld's was thinking about opening certain divisions, I had the opportunity.
Explain what that is, because a lot of our audience doesn't recognize that name.
Kleinfeld's the #1 store in New York, but really in the world.
In the world. And it's very hard to get in. It's hard to get an appointment. It's hard to, it's not a walk-in type of store.
Exactly.
We have like Randy Fanoli, which is this amazing say yes to the dress. But New York has such a reputation. So rock with me there because I wanted to make sure our listeners understood what you were talking about because this is big.
Oh, and Randy used to work for Kleinfeld's.
I know he did. Yeah, I had him here in town, remember?
Absolutely.
Because we did something with your stores. Of course we did.
And so I was in New York with Maury Lee, and we were at the same party with Kleinfeld's. So they introduce us, and they go, oh, my goodness, if you're going to open a place, it has to be at Ella Blue at Elodia and Elodia's in El Paso, Texas. So I had the owner of Kleinfeld's and her designer, Jacques, fly in. And needless to say, they fell in love with our store. They gave us their dresses. They have since stopped the Kleinfeld's collection of dresses. But we were honored to have them here. And they said, oh, your store is the place.
Yeah, the blessing was given.
Right? And then
it's like the Pope standing in front of you giving the blessing. The blessing is given.
And so whenever I go to New York, believe it or not, I take them asadero. I take them cajeta from Juarez because they fell in love with every restaurant, which of course I took them to holes in the wall in the sense what can El Paso compete with in New York? I said, no, I've got to take you locally
we can compete, yeah.
Right? And so they go, this is the best place. So by the time Sofia and I went to New York, the husband wants to come over to El Paso to visit and play golf at Coronado Country Club because they can't stop talking about El Paso.
We are a hidden gem.
Right?
And we speak about it often amongst ourselves, but we are a hidden gem for many, many reasons. And part of what you just described as your heart and what the heart of El Paso is all about. And this is not an El Paso commercial, I promise you. But I also think that there are a lot of people who don't understand how wonderful we are, how great we are. And I mean, come on, we have the best weather. You can't compete with our weather. You can't compete with our food. And our shopping is phenomenal. I remember bringing my cousin, shout out to Jill, my cousin, who I brought her to El Paso and she came in and we went shopping. And she said, I can't believe you're taking me shopping. I live in Dallas. She has a driver, by the way. She works for a very high-end company, I won't say. And she has a driver that drives her back and forth for work. But she came to visit me. We went shopping, and the first place I took her was Ella Blue. And she said, wait a minute, I'm going to get the same designer here at this store that I get in Dallas, sorry, Dallas, sorry. But the prices are 3 times in Dallas what I'm going to get here with the same designer. Plus, I'm going to have someone walk me to the dressing room, dress me, bring me back out, add a belt, add some jewelry, add a jacket, because you're going to walk out with full ensemble. She spent a ton of money. But she said, from now on, I come shopping in El Paso because really the experience was as I walked into Ella Blue. So we have a commercial going on for Ella Blue right now. But it's because of you and the way you make people feel and the way you've taught your children to walk in. Okay, so let's move on for a minute. I'm not a BS kind of girl. I wouldn't bring that up if I didn't believe it. I just like the BS part of me. I left that in my 50s, just so you know. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen in my 70s. I'm going to be scared of myself. But let's talk about something that nobody knows about you. That if you told me something that could help another woman that I can't Google, I can't look it up, I can't find out. Tell me a fall or hurt or a pain that you had, that you overcame, that if another woman is in that same space, that spot gives hope to her. I know, shock question. Sorry, Elodia, I don't prepare you for these things.
Let me think. I know there's been many failures that I have had, and that they have actually been my best lessons in life. And as I said that, this came to mind.
Okay.
Some of you might recall that I was in the snakeskin business. And my billboards on the freeway were actually very well known. We won many awards with the Cobra Snake, Show a Little Skin this season. And my limousine had the snake painted on it, and we would pick up our customers in their home because we had in the boutique, the Elodia boutique, we had a massage therapist, nail techs, facials, etc. So people would come in and spend their entire day with us. So it occurred to me that it would be very smart. I used to go to India every month for my product. And originally, when I met my supplier, he only did handbags that I did not like. Remember, I was known as the handbag lady queen.
You were.
And so I would take my designs of handbags and he would make them. And then, of course, I would improve them. And I would fly to Italy and I would say, why does this leather smell in India and the one in Italy doesn't? Well, I learned that they would cure their skin with fish oil. And then, of course, they would use another type of product in Italy. So I would go back and forth and teach my supplier how I wanted the product for my store made. And then I started making snakeskin pants and jackets and coats. And somebody in New York, because I used to be a wholesaler originally.
Okay.
So I used to show at, before the Jacob Javits Convention Center was built, it was kind of like the Coliseum, the market. And a furrier saw my beautiful snakeskin coats and bomber jackets, which he placed an order for, and then he would line them in mink. So, of course, my product had to be perfect. So it occurred to me to bring my supplier from India, his name was Sudhir Sabarwal, to El Paso, stay in my home, and then I would take him to market with me. I had a showroom in Dallas, and then I took him to New York, and I took him to market in Chicago, introduced him to the stores who I did business with so he could see and improve on our product because I considered him a partner in the business. And little did I know that he was so impressed with everything that I was doing that a month later, he tells me, Elodia, I am opening my own office in New York and doing what you do. Shelley,
Ouch.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Here I had my building with a snake, my limo,
Your brand.
my
Your
billboards,
brand.
my brand, my name. And so my answer was, so dear, I guess you want me out of the business. He said, of course not. We can compete. And I said, stop. If I am a store and I'm at the Jacob Javits Convention Center, number one, you can deliver before me. It's your product.
Yeah.
Number two, you can give a better price. I'm buying from you. Number three, you can make the same product that I have asked you to design. So how can I compete?
Right.
I will have to get out of the business.
Mm-hmm. What a breach of friendship.
And I have to admit, I was devastated.
Mm-hmm.
And I questioned myself, what am I going to do? And I had learned enough selling to buyers what to look for. I knew the buyers that I admired and the ones that I did not.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the ones that knew what they were doing, and I knew the buyers that had a store as a hobby. And I said, well, I'll open a boutique because that really had been my training at that point. And so I said, I'm getting out of the business. He felt I was doing so much business. How could I get out? I knew I better get out and run rather than invest more.
Of course.
And then in the future lose more.
Of course.
And so I immediately had to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still flying out. Well, I was still a Pan Am employee, taking time off with no pay, but of course with free travel benefits around the world.
Right.
And so I knew I had that still going for me.
Pivoting is a huge word for me because in my world, pivot, pivot, pivot. So what you're trying to tell me, summation, is that you had an amazing world. You were winning it. You'd gone out, you had invested your time, your mentality, your children came with you, and then somebody shut that door. Sometimes those doors get shut and we run into them and then we realize it hurts, so we're going to pivot. You did a pivot. And in the midst of the pivot, pardon me, I can't even speak today, and well, it might be my wine, I don't know. But in the midst of that pivot, you end up with these bridal stores that have gone amazing and have probably been fundamentally more amazing fit for you and to pass on for generations and generations and generations. So to you, I have to say I'm out of wine. That means we're out of time. Thank you for coming. I so appreciate it. I appreciate you being here and taking time out and sharing your life with us. That I love. I have one little bit of anything that you want to say to women who are climbing the entrepreneur ladder. I'd like you to give them a word of advice.
Never stop learning.
She is an entrepreneur that started in the snakeskin world and is still involved in the funeral world, but has a huge place in the bridal world. She is a woman who will have your back. She is a woman who will teach you what you need to know. She is a woman who will train unimaginably, and a woman who is so good to the community of El Paso in so many levels. So I thank you, Elodia. I appreciate you being here. It's 5:00 somewhere. My wine glass is empty. That means that wine is gone and it is time for us to close. I hope you keep following us. Follow Ella Blue because our social media is off the chart. Ella Blue, Texas. If you need anything bridal, El Paso is the place to come. A little commercial I threw in for you. But thank you for following us. We so enjoyed you. We hope you enjoy our guest. And until next time. I'm Shelly Moselle, and you've been listening to Shell Shocked. I'm available on the iHeart app or wherever you listen to your podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and join me next week. Until next time, kiss this.